Greetings, John from Boltons bit here. Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at the BB708 fret, which is the BR Western Region flanged later pattern signal arms. First of all, I'll take you through all the various bits and pieces on the fret. Okay, starting at the top, these are the spectacle plates. This is the front face, this is the rear face, which has a fold out arm stop. These are the blades, 2 distance and 6 stop signal blades, one of which could be chopped down to make the shorter shunt arm version. These are the weight bar brackets. These fold up to support the weight bars and you can solder them onto the base of the post or the dole if you're building a bracket signal. These are the back blinders. These go on the rear of the spindle of the signal arm, and then they're used to cover or expose the white marker light at the back of the lamp, which shows whether the signal has gone back to danger or not. These are track circuit diamonds. One of these fixed to a post indicates to a driver of a train that his presence of his train at that signal is indicated in the signal box by a track circuit. Down here you see this slightly different design on the spectacle plates. They're for a goods line arm. It's only one of those, but it's there nevertheless. Down the bottom here, these are the weight bars. There's a little weight that solders on each side of the represented weight on the bar to give a bit of relief detail. And that's the parts. These are, should you want them, just an extra which fold up into a U shape and slide down the top half of a post of a stop signal or a distance signal to make it easier to mount, say, the track circuit diagram or anything else. You could even use it to mount these on a dole on a bracket signal. They only fit the top half of the post. There's none for the lower half of the post, which is a slightly wider diameter. For the purpose of this, I'll just dive into a fret that I've already started using, because it's still got at least one of everything on, so I can show you how to assemble the parts. So we'll start by building up an arm. The arm is made from 3 parts, which is the blade, spectacle plate and the rear spectacle plate. Okay, here's the 3 components. All the various little bits trimmed off that don't need to be there. Needs to go to make up an arm. So first thing, the front piece. Needs no attention at all, it's ready for use. The rear part of the spectacle plate, you can see there, that's an arm stop that needs bending backwards away from it, so bear with. Simple enough job, just push it through, bend it out to approximately 90 degrees. Can see there. It will need adjusting when you fit the arm to the signal post. Once you've got the adjustment right, that can be soldered just to strengthen it and stop it bending again. Next is the blade of the arm. As you can see, it's just a flat piece at the moment, but the real thing had a flange bent over top and bottom, which we'll deal with first. As you can see on the back, it's half etched along each edge, and that's the bit that you're going to bend over. Now, no doubt most of you will have bending tools which you prefer to use. I've made myself a little bending jig just from 2 pieces of brass tube with a piece of scrap fret soldered between the two, of the same thickness that this is made of. So that can just slide in, align it at the top, put it in a vise and drag it over. And here's the blade in the jig, in the vise. I'm going to attempt to pull this flange over. There we go. In one. Slide it out of the jig. As you can see, the flange is now formed on the edge of the blade. That's that job out of the way. Next job, you'll see there's indentations on the back ready to be punched out as rivets or bolts on the front. Okay, so we'll punch the rivets out. I've got a Metal Smith's rivet punch. Just put it in the witness hole in the back there, straight through. As you can see, I've got the rivet or bolts showing now. Time to assemble the arm. Okay, time to assemble the arm from the 3 pieces. Piece of wood, piece of 0.9 or 1mm rod pushed into a hole drilled in the block. Try and keep it vertical. And then slot the items down. So first is the blade, obviously flange faced upwards because we're building it from the back. Then the main front spectacle plate. Slots down. Make sure it slots into the flanged area. That should locate it correctly, but you will have to align it by eye. Lastly, the rear spectacle plate with its arm stop bent out, don't forget. Drop that down over the rod, and when they're all down on the block, have a quick look, align it by eye, and then it's time to apply a bit of solder just to secure all 3 components together. Okay, I've added a little liquid flux at the base of the spindle, so I'm just going to hold these down, should keep it all in line, and just apply a little bit of solder at the base of the spindle. Don't worry, you can clean any excess off afterwards. The heat travels through, it will drag the solder right through into all 3 layers. Okay, that should be done. Okay, let's have a look, see how we've done. Yeah. Bit of spindle poking out at the front, soon snip that off. Ready for cleaning up. Note at the back, 2 different sizes of the inner and outer spectacle plate. This gives a ledge for a coloured lens to sit on each in each of the two spectacles. Okay, this is a weight bar bearing. Should be a casting on the real thing, but a bit awkward to replicate as an etching. This simply folds up into a U shape so that the two holes line up. As the folds are tiny, there's no need for any special tools. Just fold them up by eye. Make sure all the folds are 90 degrees. Pretty much in line. When you're happy with the shape, the best thing to do is to run the tiniest little bit of solder in each of these 4 folds, and that will give the strength required to stop it unfolding. These are the 3 components of a weight bar. I know these look like they've got a hole in the middle, which they have. These are off a faulty etch, which obviously I won't be selling, but the production ones are a bit better than this. So each of these needs to be soldered, one onto one side and one on the other side. I find self-locking tweezers are quite good for a little job like this. It can hold the disc in line with its weight on the weight bar. A little splash of liquid flux. Hot iron with a little bit of solder. Just touch it. That's soldered on. And repeat with the one for the other side, and you've got an assembled weight bar. So, just got to fit that into the weight bar bracket using a piece of 1mm rod. It fits with the tail hanging through the gap at the bottom as per real thing. Then a bit of a fiddly job, but feed it through all 3 elements, and there you go. You've got a weight bar and a pivot. This is the most basic, simple way of doing it. There are more sophisticated ways of doing it, using a piece of tube through the arm of the weight bar. It'll run on the axle when it's done, which takes the slop out of it. It's up to you to find the best way, whichever works for you. So I've put a bit of flux on there. That can be cleaned off at the end of it, and you've got a fairly smooth working weight bar. When fitting it to the post, you can use the tail of this into a pre-drilled 1mm hole in the base of the post. This will hold it steady while you just solder it on around the edge there. This is the back blind. This is for going on the back of the arm spindle. It works with the arm spindle and covers up the marker light at the back of the lamp should the signal not be in the on or danger position. So here's a post, one I made earlier in true Blue Peter fashion. There's a piece of pivot tube on there for the arm to rotate in, although I will be producing a fold up etch to replace the need for this tube on here. So here's our arm. See the stop at the top, which will touch the post. So you thread it through and just work it in until gently you've got it there. Just rotate it and eventually it'll hit the stop. As you can see, the stop is just touching the post there. If you're sure that that is the correct adjustment, you can take the arm off and secure that arm stop to stop it moving and going out of adjustment. Obviously there's no lamp on here, you can't see it, but this is the back blind that fits on the back of the spindle. Tight fit this one. Here we go. The normal position would be approximately there. If you're looking through the arm, the backlight would be approximately there where the screwdriver comes through. You can just see that's sort of almost in line. So when the arm moves, it takes that with it and covers the back blind, the back of the lamp up. It returns to danger. Further down the post you can see use of the track circuit diamond, which again has punched out rivets showing on there as detail, and that is roughly the place where the weight bar would fit. It's a slightly different one, it's got a 14 BA bolt going through it. And that is the basics of the use of your Great Western or British Rail Western Region signal arms. Thanks for watching.